How often do you say, I knew I shouldn't have done that, or I knew I should have done that, and everything went wrong because you didn't follow what that inner voice said? And yet you deny that you have intuition. It's been found that the best leaders, how they make decisions, they didn't know they did this until people asked the questions to figure out their unconscious strategies. They go through a whole bunch of what if scenarios until one of them feels right. And that's a model that so many effective leaders go with, that feeling of it being right. So if intuition is such a leverage point for effective leaders, how much are you using it in your day-to-day life, in your workplace, and in other environments? What I want to show you today is why it's critical in this path that I've identified for leading your life, your business in turbulent times like these. And I'm also going to show you how you can build your confidence in your intuition. You should never just follow your intuition just because someone says so. I believe in doing it scientifically, and I'm going to show you how you can do that, how you can build your confidence in your intuition. I'm Ravi Tangri, and this is What's Next. And every weekday in September, I am bringing you some information, some resources about how do we find our way forward through these turbulent, through these crazy times, and figure out what to do. How do we move forward with our businesses, with our lives, with everything in our lives? And this week, what I've been doing is I've been showing you a path, a 5-step path that I've found that very effective business leaders, professionals, business owners use in finding their way forward, even when there aren't any readily available answers. This is a 5-step path that I call the CEO or business owner's guide to soul engineering your life and your leadership. And I have identified for you some of the first couple of steps in the past couple of days. We're going to move up to stage 3 in this. The first step is awareness, where you may be running around doing things for everybody, feeling guilty because you can't give enough time to everybody, and you don't have enough time. You're left hanging. So there's no resources, not a lot for you. You're constantly living in your head, second guessing yourself, up all night, tossing and turning about, did you make the right decisions? What should you do? But the key part to this is that there's got to be another way. And then the first step of this, or the second step of this path, once you find a resource, is what I call to breathe, to be able to shut down that non-stop head chatter in your mind so that you can be in a state of presence. You can simply be without living up here. And that is absolutely 100% possible. I'll come back to that a bit later. So as you build that practice of being able to step into silence, to be able to take a walk without any head chatter, to be able to meditate and go deeply without it taking as long because that head chatter keeps popping in, all that self-talk. And you build that practice to be present, to be mindful, that opens the door for stage 3, which is about connecting. And that's connecting deeply with your inner wisdom, your inner intuition. And we all have that. Think back in your life. How many times have you made decisions? Have you done things and you had a feeling, oh, maybe this isn't the right thing, but you did it anyway. And because it was a practical thing, it was a logical thing, and then it blows up in your face. even though you have that feeling, maybe I shouldn't, or maybe it's, dating this person that's, everything looked great, but you had this nagging little feeling, and then it all exploded in your face. So what's going on there, and how do we access that, and how do we get confidence with that? Now, there are ways to directly access your intuition. We don't have the time right now to get into that, but what I want to do is show you how you can validate your intuition. And I'm a scientist. I started out, for those of you who don't know me, my first career, I was a nuclear physicist. And I started out as a scientist, and I still am in many ways. And scientific method doesn't necessarily mean you understand everything, but it means that you can find the correlation. You can show that this leads to this, and so on. And there's a process, a very simple process you can use to build your confidence in your own intuition. And that is what I want to show you. So to do this, what you need to do is you need to get a journal or logbook. Keep it separate from your regular journal. And what you do is, every time you have a decision, big, small, whatever, what you do is you record it in there. Give it, each one its own page. It could be as simple as, where do you go for lunch? And just jot down what the first sense was, or what the feeling was that you had, or if you have those feelings of warning or spider sense going off, then write down what action you took. And then write down what happened. Now, there may be no big what happened if it's something like, where do you go for lunch? And it may take time for bigger decisions to figure out what what that next step is. But write it down and go back when you have those effects. Jot those down, what those were. And over time, you'll start to see just how accurate that inner knowing is. When I did this, it was black and white. Forget 50 Shades of Grey. There wasn't one. It was 100%. Every single time I listened to my intuition, even though it was crazy, it was stupid, it was irrational. It was like, why in the world would you do that? It worked out. Something happened and things worked out. Every time I ignored it, even if I was doing the rational, logical, well planned out, reasoned thing, something happened. Caca hit the fan, and it just all blew up in my face. And in that way, I found very quickly, for me, that I was able to prove to myself that inner knowing, that there's a correlation with what's best for me and for others in my life. So this can take some time, but if you are really interested in doing this, this is a really simple way to start to chart how effective your own intuition is. And when you're dealing with the uncertainty that we have today, it doesn't matter how well planned out you are. I was just doing a session with a bunch of leaders yesterday, and they're going, how do we figure out, how do we budget, there is no how to, because the rug has been pulled out from under everything that you've done. So there are no best practices for this kind of world. So this is a good time, a phenomenal time for you to refine your understanding of and confidence in your own intuition. And you should only follow it because you want to, not because somebody else said that you should follow your intuition. This is a way for you to build your own confidence in your intuition. And then you can start to follow it if you want, if it's your choice, with small decisions, and then slightly larger and larger, and build up. So you get more and more confident in it. You can't prove why it works, but you can prove that it works. So this is step 3 of this path to charting your way through to your what's next. Start to build your confidence in your intuition. Now, one thing I mentioned before is that in order to get that space, you need to be able to be present, to be mindful, not to be constantly living in the stress of that internal chatter, head chatter that's going on. So if you're still struggling with that, if you're up at night with your mind going nonstop, if you're second guessing yourself, I'm launching tomorrow a free challenge that will help you learn. I'll show you exactly how to turn that off whenever you want. Turn off that self-talk, that monkey mind, so that you can be present. So it's free. All you have to do, just come and sign up, register at self-sabotagecure.com. Join me starting tomorrow. It's 1 week challenge to be able to stop that biggest cause of self-sabotage. Stop overthinking. Stop that self-sabotage and be able to step into presence whenever you need to in your life. Please join me. And then tomorrow also, one of the things that happens, especially in uncertain time, is people look to people who are intuitive and to other modalities. So one of what I'm bringing you tomorrow is an interview with one of the best astrologers that I know, so that she can share what is the value in that. So join me tomorrow on What's Next with Deborah Young. And then on Friday, we'll finish off steps 4 and 5 of the Soul Engineering Your Life Path. So see you tomorrow for that with Deborah Young, and hopefully to kick off the Stop the Self-Sabotage Challenge to stop that head chatter. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great one. Hey, Wayne, good to see you. We've got to have Facebook chat soon, or messenger chat. I'll give you a buzz. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, folks.